fucking hate it. Okay.
You should check out that Media Monarchy.
Well, the thing you sent me, that link.
Oh,
yeah. I'm pretty sure that you sent it to me, and I just haven't had a chance to pull it up.
Somebody sent me a link on Twitter to some app that's supposed to help you boost your
erection.
Yeah, well, it wasn't even that legit. It was something about boosting your Twitter profile so you'll get more hits, and I don't give a fuck. I'm just there when my Facebook account's down.
Once upon a time, I had like over 400 people that were following me on Twitter because I was on that fucking game show out in California, and they put my Twitter handle out there. So, but then all of a sudden, like my account got hacked and shit, and I came back and I only have like 60 some now. Like it just deleted a whole shitload of them, and yeah,
maybe a bunch of them were Russian bots. One never knows.
Yeah, I love the hot chick profiles on Facebook, Sonia fucking Kolesnikov wants to be your friend. And you go and she got like 3 friends and she just posted a day. And it's like sexy nude pics and shit. And it's no.
They must get bites.
Dude, you'd be surprised. I have a couple people on my Facebook feed that's like, I get those and it's like one mutual friend and it's always that person. And I'm like, come on, dude, really? Like, you think this chick's after you?
Yeah.
So, hey, welcome to the Dakota Podcasting Experience. I'm Tony Tubes, and I got Jon Rhoden on the show, and Jon Rhoden holds the record for the most days in Facebook jail. I'm pretty sure. You're in Facebook jail right now. As we speak, you're not able to access Facebook.
With 2 accounts.
With 2 accounts. Well, don't say that. They're going to fucking get you now.
It's all free.
It's all free. They want to take me off. Fine. That's cool. Guinness Extra Stout. Eddie Van Halen once said, "Don't ever drink anything you can't see through."
Yeah.
So,
I like that. It's nice. It's a nice.
It's very subtle. It doesn't have too big of a bite to it.
That Guinness draft or whatever, not so much. Unless it's actually out of the keg,
Never had it out of the keg, I guess,
Lagers has it. And they pour it right, and it's pretty good.
I like going. I have to say I'm a pussy, and I like woodchuck a lot.
I don't know what
it's like Red's Apple Ale, or like that kind of stuff. Woodchuck they have like, and then during the holidays they have different ones and stuff like that. But they have amber, which is like their apple beer. They have a peach pear, and a green apple. The green apple's really has a bite to it, but it just tastes like you're sucking off an apple, and then you get fucking drunk, and you're like, hey, all right.
Yeah, I know it. I have trouble getting into the fruity taste in beers. You're
not a pouring orange juice in a fucking or in a beer kind of guy.
No. Tomato, maybe a little tomato.
That's gross.
The clamato.
That's so gross.
That's the second day hangover stuff,
Yeah, that Bloody Marys. I could never get into them unless it was like somebody made it one time with like a Tabasco mix. That was really good. I really like Tabasco.
The old Legion Club in Aberdeen, one, it used to be down in that basement, and then they had the VFW or something upstairs, or they had an auditorium upstairs, but the bar was down in the basement.
Where?
Across the street from the old Y.
Oh.
In Aberdeen.
Okay, yep.
It was they poured, it was a great place to stop because they burned the shit out of the drinks. They just burned those fuckers bad. And this bald-headed bartender would make you a Bloody Mary in one of those big tumblers, And it was just mostly booze and a big old pickle in there.
Big old pickle.
And like you say, the Tabasco sauce.
Yeah.
And if you couldn't get drunk after a couple, 3 drinks, you'd stop there and then go hit the other bar. Then go to the lumber company.
Right.
Because their drinks, you could drink them all night long and never catch a buzz.
I was a fucking child during all of this.
Yeah.
But I remember the lumber company. I remember what it looked like on the outside, and I remember a couple aspects of the inside but I don't think I was in it that much. But I remember the outside of it.
It took
really,
too
really
much
well.
energy to keep all those little businesses going,
Yeah.
There wasn't anything big enough to carry it all in that big room when they stopped filling that up,
Yeah.
But their drinks, they sucked. They weren't good
They
drinks. You had to go to the
sucked.
Legion and catch your buzz and then go out there if you were chasing women.
They sucked. That sounds like us with the at the Pirates Cove. We'd start at like the zoo and we'd do that for a few hours and then go out to the Pirates Cove and just shit faced. And now that place isn't even open anymore.
Yeah, the Chevy's still sticking out of the building.
It looks rough. Somebody needs to really just like revamp it, man, because it looks. And I remember they did that when I was probably in like 10 or 11. That they redid the whole thing, and it looked really, really sweet.
Well, a few years ago, there was somebody that did some kind of a remodel and reopening of that barn restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And they had this big outdoor feature, where they had a bandstand and tables and their proximity to this canal going by. It was not a wise choice because it was just like mosquitoes.
Oh, I bet.
Just horrible.
Yeah.
Just it just wasn't a pleasant lake out there. It was a frickin' canal.
Swamp. It's a fucking swamp.
Yeah.
Aberdeen's surrounded by a fucking swamp, and people are building their houses on it. Like my buddy's parents built a house out there by the Ramkota and that new development and shit. I guess it's not even that new anymore, but they built it like 10 years ago, and they have to replace their entire driveway and everything because everything fucking sinking down and shit. And they're like, "Oh, it'll be good this time though because now it's settled." And it's like, I don't know, I wouldn't trust that shit.
Yeah,
but yeah, dude, you used to play in bands with my dad, which is really trippy to me because my dad, he's always been my dad. He's my dad.
He's always been a cool guy. Good liberal, your dad.
Good liberal, my dad. That's funny.
Sensible,
Dad is very logical.
Yeah.
Like I think that Spock really rubbed off on him a lot when he was a kid because he's very logical.
Yeah.
And if I need a yes or no answer from somebody, it's him, so.
Yeah, he doesn't piddle around, he'll tell you what he thinks.
Yeah. And so, okay, I remember this, and I don't know if you played there with my dad or somebody else, I don't know. I think it was Ordway, but there was, what from my recollection as a small child, there was a stage, and then next to like all of that was a creek.
Yeah, and with the rope.
The rope.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I was so young that Dad wouldn't let me do it. But I had to sit there and watch all the other fucking kids do it. I remember fucking just sitting there being pissed at my dad. Just like, fuck you, dude. Like, I want to do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's awesome. Like, where is that place? Like, is it...
Well, Patty McHugh was kind of running that thing, but way back when. At least he had something to do with it. And it was like, they just, the liability, whatever.
Yeah.
But it was cool. Like I remember they ran out of beer. I remember going on a beer run into town with somebody, and I had to go along and help. I was the extra vehicle because they were getting several kegs, and I had a little pickup. And my buddy from Spink County and I ended up going into town and helping lug it back, and the bands just kept playing it. Like there was a big deal about copycat of like the Kiss sort of bands and in those days. So like there was this band called Clown, and they had shit exploding all over the fucking place. And they were good. They were on time, whatever. But all the makeup and just bizarre outfits and kabang kaboom and stuff. And
there's a really good documentary on Pink Floyd. It's called Which One's Pink, and it's on YouTube. It's like an hour long. But when they were talking about doing their stage show, Roger's talking about all this stuff and everything like that. What's the guy's name? Roger Waters and David Gilmour.
I saw a deal on YouTube last night, just slumming and.
But Waters is sitting there talking, and he was like talking about this huge fucking stage show, and David's like, "Why can't we just sit up there and play our instruments?" And Waters like, "Cool, because it would be boring." And so yeah, that's what started that whole thing. But then what I think is funny is they had that kind of a disagreement about it. But then after Waters left the band, it's like it got even more ridiculous, when Gilmore was going at it. So
I can remember buying Pink Floyd albums before they made it, and they had some goofy stuff. I gotta say, there'd be like one track on there that would make you beg the guy at the radio station to give you the next promotional album that came in,
right.
But they weren't real winners. There was this one with this cow on the label.
Oh,
I remember, and it had some coolness on the.
yeah.
There was no real meat to get into.
I can't remember what the fuck album that was. I know what you're talking about, though.
You had to really kind of dedicate yourself to it to stick with it.
Oh, yeah.
In those early days, because they were jazzed out there in the fucking clouds.
Yeah.
They kind of got down onto some kind of a wavelength together, and started creating just amazing shit.
Yep. Everything pre Dark Side was pretty trippy.
Yeah.
A lot of like almost Grateful Dead acid tests.
Yeah,
let's
all go to the woods and take LSD and
just
get naked.
Yeah. Well, dude, you know what, man? I'm gonna tell you this. This was one of my favorite nights ever playing. I was out at Jim Seaton's farm. You ever been out there?
Yeah.
And I was out there with him, and Bob was out there, and Mike Upton was out there.
Oh, yeah.
And me, God, there might have been somebody else too, but it was all dark and everything, and I was just trashed. I was comfortably numb, but all I could see around me was just nothing but the little fucking red light, the little like pearl light off the Fender amps and shit like that. I
jammed with those guys out there a couple of times.
Mojo Filter
with Mike.
Yeah.
When Mike was.
Oh, Martin. Yeah, Martin was there too. Yeah.
Mike was such a tragic thing. I loved Mike.
Mike was awesome.
He had amazing capacity for alcohol. And the guy didn't drink because his baby left him, or because, he was mad at the boss, or whatever the hell, or he didn't get nasty. He just loved to drink. And
Some people do.
I remember, like, him and Nancy were running the bar there in Mansfield, and Mike, he's usually about 130 pounds, Well, he blew up to like 180 pounds and turned as yellow as a fucking banana, And so Nancy races him down to Sioux Falls, and Mike, you're going to die if you don't, in a couple of years, if you don't quit drinking. He went on drinking for...
Is your phone? Are you bullshitting me right now?
No, that's my buddy's ringtone. I'll call him back.
Hey, pull that mic just a little closer to you, will you?
Oh, yeah.
That'll work.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought.
Talking about Mike, blew up to 100 and some pounds.
Oh, yeah. And they told him, you're going to be a dead man. Well, he lived another 9-10 years, and a couple of years after he was gone, he was still finding jugs stashed around on the place. The guy just, was just something he couldn't. But he'd never miss a note. He'd show up for the gig, and he'd been drinking since 6:30, 7 o'clock, and he'd be the drunkest guy in the bar. And he'd get up there and never miss a note,
How many stories of that, are there and shit out there in rock and roll?
I don't know how he did it, though. I mean, because if you're so sloppy you can't hardly stand up, how the hell do you stay in touch with those keys?
Well, I mean, the last time I drank was my birthday. Before that was like 2013, and so I'm not a big drinker, but yeah,
I'm not either.
I cannot imagine going through that every day. Holy shit. Like,
they must get to some level where it doesn't occur every day. I don't know. It's like dope sickness. As long as they take a little bit more, then they aren't quite as sick.
Well, yeah, it's that old saying. It's like, I'm not sick because I'm drinking. I'm sick because I haven't been drinking. That's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough shit. But no, dude, I really wish, like, honestly, if I could go back in time to one particular, time period, it'd probably be the 80s, and go back and watch you guys do your thing. Because I remember as a kid going to some of that stuff, but I was a fucking kid. But I tell you what, man, that goddamn musicians reunion.
Well, the deal with the tunes, that was just like, you know, they talked to your dad and Camille talked to Boyce about playing, you know, and we talked about doing it and stuff, and then when we did it, it was just such a meal ticket for Boyce, because Boyce can play all of that stuff, you know.
Boyce is a fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, you know, and you know, I tried to be there on the rhythm chords and stuff, and she'd play she'd sing like Heart, all this stuff, you know, and they did such a nice job, her and your dad, with harmony and stuff, you know. And you know, you pretty much in my spot, you know, you just try to stay sober enough to do the gig and keep ordering shots to kill. No, I don't know. But it was fun, and it was a sad day that it kind of went to hell. But you know, these things happen.
Yeah, I had a band in high school, and we wrote a couple of really, really good songs, and we were really good. Just we were like a three piece acoustic, and then we had a drummer sitting in the back, and we did some really cool like dispatchy kind of shit. But you know, the singer was kind of a dick. And he wanted to do like Neil Young rocking in the free world and stuff like that. And I was just kind of not really into that at that moment. But then I actually kind of feel good that I kind of dicked out of that, because they were in like a talent show at the school, and they played Rockin' the Free World by Neil Young, and he like grabbed the American flag and started running all over the fucking place with it. You just looked like a dill hole. You know, you're not cool. You're not Slash running through the Tokyo fucking Megadome, you know, during the Guns N' Roses
People
shit.
tend to have too much fun, you know, sometimes.
I think that's why I was never really a good musician, because like I look at Mick Jagger and I think he looks ridiculous. I look at Angus Young sometimes, I'm like, you look ridiculous. I look at Kiss and I'm like, you guys really just look ridiculous, and I just can't get into that ridiculous. I'm not an actor.
You know, with the Kiss thing, if they weren't such assholes, I would be a lot more of a booster, you know, of their thing, because they've got the key. They can do that when they're in wheelchairs if they put on enough makeup.
Yep.
And he sticks his tongue out.
Oh, Gene Simmons is such a Trumpletite too, man.
Oh yeah,
it's awful.
Yeah, him and the My Pillows guy, you know.
Have you seen, okay, kind of off topic, but still on topic. Sometime if you ever want to laugh, just go on YouTube and type in Ace Frehley laser pointer. And there's so many videos, like somebody has made it their fucking job to go to every Kiss concert and put a laser pointer in Paul Stanley's fucking face. And he gets pissed. And he like threatens to walk off the fucking. Oh, it's all over YouTube, man. It's great.
Well, you know, so many of those old rock icons are such fucking crybabies anymore. Like that, you know. I mean, I'm not whatever. I mean, they pay their dues, blah 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 blah. You know, but like Roger Daltrey, you know, had some kind of a fucking thing with these lungs or something. You know, so like people pay $150 a ticket to go see him. You know, for a cheap ticket. You know. And they're not supposed to smoke a joint when they're at a fucking rock concert because he won't be able to hit those notes. Well, a stupid fucker, he's too old to hit them notes. Right?
Well, and he fucking he fucking put his voice through hell.
Well, yeah. But, you know, that's why, you know, I have so much respect for Robert Plant.
Yeah.
Because he had enough sense to say enough of this shit. You can't, you're 60, pushing 70 years old, you're not going to go, you know, like all of that stuff that you can't do it. You know, it's physically impossible, and you can't change the keys and everything. And you look ridiculous doing it, you know. Big old jowls, and you're trying to be this skinny kid with a six-pack belly and no shirt on, you know. It ain't going to happen, you know.
Like Vince Neil. Scooby Doo head, how do how? Fucking doesn't know any of the fucking lyrics to his songs and shit. No, but Pete Townsend always, every time I ever saw a documentary about rock and Pete Townsend was in it, he was just, he's kind of a little bitch when it comes to, you know, just talking about other people and talking about he did it first and all this shit. And then there's the whole, he destroyed like 1,000 fucking guitars during the Who's tenure and shit like that. And I'm not about that. Like, that makes me cringe when I see a guitar get destroyed. I don't care if it's fucking Hendrix or the Kid Down the Block. I don't like watching a guitar get destroyed.
Well, maybe that's a one-time thing, but if it's in every show we got a band full of guitars, you know.
Oh yeah, Pete Townsend, fucking Les Paul used to give him guitars to smash. Just give him guitars because
seconds, I would hope.
Probably Epiphones.
We would hope, jeez.
But fuck yeah. So I want to switch over to your political aspirations.
Oh, I have none.
Not yours, but like what?
I have none.
What?
Well, I'd like to run for mayor.
No. Of Redfield?
Nah, perhaps not.
Perhaps.
I like his honor, the mayor. I think he's a good guy.
Who is it? What's his name?
Jamie Aiken.
Yeah. I used to work with him at the nursing home. He's a good guy.
Yeah,
he's a good guy. Well,
unfortunately, Republican, but that's national politics doesn't have shit to do with local law.
That's just how it is, especially around here. But like, who do you want? Who is the right one on the ticket for you for the Democrats? Because I know you're not going to go for Trump.
I'm puzzled because here's how I look at it. I had hoped that Joe Biden wouldn't get into the race.
Me too.
But then when he did get into the race, it makes you scratch your head and wonder, sure, Camilla's got guts, so does Warren, There's a lot of shit. This Castro guy's got some good things to say,
That Yang guy, is that his name?
Yeah. There's a lot in the Buttigieg, they all got great things to say, But, you're looking at who the fuck knows anything about foreign policy? And we're all, like Trump has been busy tearing the government down, and all of our alliances are, how many hundreds of positions aren't filled in our diplomatic corps and everywhere,
Right.
And so, like, who the hell knows where all of those pieces go back together? I mean, who knows what's up with our allies? Who has the freshest information? It's old Joe.
Maybe.
And I've always liked him, but I think his time has passed. But I don't know what the fuck, I mean, who?
I just think that
who can touch him on that? Because foreign policy is going to become an issue.
Well,
because he's it isn't just America he's fucking out.
Well, hopefully, the rest of the world looks at whoever we elect, and I'm almost 90% positive that it's not going to be Trump.
I'm afraid that if Harris or Warren get the nomination, they're popular. They're determined. They're capable women.
I like Kamala Harris.
I do too. That prosecutor thing she's got going.
Oh yeah, dude. She looks like a straight up bitch, but a bitch out for the right things. You know what I'm saying?
Right, that's right. But so we get one of these candidates. Who the hell do they pick for a running mate? Because you got to have somebody on the ticket. And Joe sure as hell wouldn't be expected to be the VP again. And when I think if the primary was over and the candidate was chosen, and I think about Biden Harris, that's easy to feel confident about that.
Right.
When I think of Harris with a question mark, then I'm not so fucking confident. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's really critical, this VP choice, whoever, because I don't think Joe's going to win. I think they've, that when the blood was in the water there at the beginning, I remember a time when Joe Biden would have jumped back on that situation right when it was happening and turned it around with a smile on his face. And He wasn't able to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's 78, 79 years old. I ain't saying he's an asshole. I'm just saying that you got to be able to think and act quickly,
Yeah. Well, I just think that if Biden wins the nomination and the presidency, it's just going to go back to business as usual.
I don't think so. I think there's enough force going on. Because the things like this Cortez lady, and there's several, I don't agree with everything they're doing, but they're not going to be shutting up and going home, and they're going to be heard, and they're going to be doing legislation, hopefully with a Democrat Senate,
Yeah.
I mean, that's...
I think what...
Can you imagine that?
I really honestly think that the millennials and stuff the younger generation is really going to come and kick some ass.
Well, I do too.
Yeah.
But it's going to be hard to sort it out, right? 'Cause like one thing they're involved with this Cortez lady and these Justice Democrats,
Mm-hmm.
Well, they want to come out to cow shit country like Montana, where you got a sitting Democratic senator. and other places that have sitting Democratic House members and senators that won't pass Bernie's purity test. They're not for every damn thing on the left's agenda.
Right.
So we want to challenge them in their primaries and plug in somebody that thinks like we do. Well, that ain't going to work. That's just a stupid strategy. It's like you can't go up to Montana and unplug Tester and plug in some guy that knits socks for Bernie. It's just not going to happen. You're
not a Bernie fan, right?
Well, that's a stupid strategy.
Right.
That's a stupid strategy.
It's a bullying strategy.
Because in order to, it's pointless. Because in order to make any change at all, we need a solid, long-term congressional majority. We can't do shit for anybody. We can't deliver nothing for anybody if we don't have. And all these Justice Democrats are full of shit. People need to pay attention to that. And I have no other criticism of this Cortez lady. Everything she says, I love. I love the way she frosts everybody's balls on the right. You can't not like that. She's got real opportunity and real potential, and she shouldn't associate herself with people that are fucking with the unity of the party when we need unity the worst.
Right.
I hope she doesn't ruin the chance she's got with hubris on the deal,
There's just so many that are after the same things that I would be after, like, free public college, at least at a certain level, at least give, community college for free or something, free health, free health care, but it's got to be done the right way. Because that shit can just tank our fucking country.
We got to get those majorities before we can do anything.
Right.
And that means winning elections. Yep. And that means politics hasn't changed since Caesar was stabbed. There might not be as much blood on the floor, but there's every bit as, it won't change until human nature changes, and that's never going to change. So it's always going to be a dirty game.
I'm just wondering.
We got to win.
I'm wondering what kind of dirty game Trump is going to play.
Oh, fuck.
There's
no limit.
Exactly.
He's already got the Russians working with him. For Christ's sake, Reagan must be spinning like a fucking.
Yeah, but he always cites Reagan.
Yeah,
and it's like
yeah. He made up that quote that Reagan said it when he shook hands with him, that he felt like he was shaking hands with a future president or some bullshit like that. He had a Twitter. He might have deleted it. I don't know.
Dude, you could tell me literally anything except for logical things and say that Trump said it, and I would probably believe you, for real. That guy has said so many different just crazy, I'm sitting there, what the fuck is he talking about now? And then people just go for it.
His base just love it, man.
They fucking eat it up,
that's
dude.
Great. He's telling everybody, them damn libtards, and it's meanwhile, he's taking their health insurance. The big tax cut they were supposed to get, they're paying more taxes. They didn't get a fucking refund last year. It's bullshit, It's too bad.
Yeah.
They're really being used in the worst of ways, and it's just they're being triumphant, and they're just taking it up the ass so bad. I don't know. That's my considered opinion.
I completely agree, man. I actually went to one of my buddies' Facebook page. I have 2 friends still that are trumpeters. Yeah. And I went to his page the other day, and I just looked around a little bit, and it's absolutely ridiculous. There was this thing about how this thing against the Megan Rapinoe girl. The soccer player.
Yeah.
One little interview.
They can't win that.
One little interview while she's tying her fucking shoes, going, you want to go to the White House? Man, I'm not going to go to the fucking White House. That's all she said. And all of a sudden she's an advocate for all this shit and everything. But then she stands up for it, and she stands up for obviously the right things.
Yeah. She's a good girl.
But then they're sitting there just going, and she's talking about this imaginary gender pay gap and everything. It's imaginary? I see the shit up there just on the women's soccer versus the men's soccer alone, but in everyday,
and that's just a weird case of the effect that the media can have, because it was a big plus for them, made a big story. They all got sold a lot of advertising time, and it's in the end, it's going to be a good thing for this woman and her cause, that elevates the thing that they've won 2 championships and they're still paying them half what they pay the men or something like that. Haven't looked into it real close, but it looks like a real.
Well, and people call it like this invisible, like like it's not really a thing. And to a certain degree, I can see how if you look at McDonald's or you look at, Dairy Queen or even, bigger corporations like 3M and stuff like that, if you go work at these places, yeah, you're going to be getting the same pay as the other grunt that's in your training class with you.
Yeah.
But on a corporate level, I've never been in the corporate market before. So I can only imagine on a corporate level, when you're talking about salaries and shit like that, then I can see where I have seen the statistics for like the men versus women sporting events and stuff like that and everything. But I'm guessing that's more of a corporate entity thing, salary kind of a thing, not minimum wage jobs.
Well, the whole right wing thing is so. God, they want to turn it back to 1950 so bad,
Yeah, really bad.
But they all socially. No, they don't want to have their fucking corporations paying their 70-80% taxes and stuff and building the fucking interstate highway system from nothing, and it's really accomplishing things. They don't want to put a man on the moon, We couldn't have done that with a, bullshit tax thing they got going now. It's in.
No, we would do it with the Space Force. That's what we would do it with.
And they can count on working class people to not learn enough about it to know that they just say, "Well, we're going to get screwed anyway, so I won't do nothing,"
I just hope that something. I don't even know how it would work, man, but I just wish that we wouldn't pay our bills with our paychecks and then look at our money and say, "Wow, we still have to get groceries." And we're fucked. And we're fucked after that. And that's every paycheck for us. Yeah. And it's like, I don't know how they can work me into their plan, but it would be fucking damn nice if they could.
We're taken for granted and we're used when we've got something to give them. And then when we don't, the sooner we die, the better.
Yeah.
That's actually, it's as Dickinsonian as it can get. It's just modern,
I remember when my wife and I got off of all assistance, and we were really proud of that. We were like, "Oh, we're not eligible for assistance anymore." We're really proud of that and everything. But then all of a sudden, these days it's like, God, dude,
they run such a fine line in South Dakota. They said no to that expansion, so they basically said, "Fuck you and me and anybody that needs any kind of leg up on anything." You know what I mean? I've spent my whole life taking care of people, and I'm at the point in life where I can't, I need help, and it's like they said no to that money, all of that money from the feds, which would have meant health care for you and me and your kids, It wouldn't have cost the South Dakota taxpayers anything. If that money would have been for farmers, they would have taken it with bells on.
Right.
But the working class in South Dakota don't get shit.
Well, I think that right now, the obvious course of action for South Dakota, you want to make fucking money? Then get in on that fucking marijuana trade. Like,
they haven't figured out how they can make money, though.
Tax the fucking shit out of it.
Yeah, but as individuals,
It's just like the beer companies. Run it just like that, man. I mean, God, dude, they pour fucking alcohol down our fucking citizens' throats year after year after year, man. Hundreds of millions of gallons of alcohol are consumed in South Dakota alone, and they promote the shit out of it everywhere. There's a bar on every fucking corner, man.
With a casino.
With a casino, which is great. You know what's funny is Wisconsin, it's not casinos. Every single bar, hole-in-the-wall bar, could be this big. And then all of a sudden, you go outside and there's an Olympic-sized sand volleyball court. They have the hugest boners in Wisconsin for sand volleyball.
That's cool.
Like, it's weird, man.
Well,
like,
it's cool that they have that downtown here.
What downtown here? What?
Well, they have a volleyball court at the bowling alley there outdoors. They have sand anyway.
Oh, do they? Back there in like the smoking area or whatever?
Yeah, that's a cool place. I like that.
I've seen like they have like, what do they call it? Cornhole?
Yeah.
I hate that name.
I do too. It's like we're having a cornhole festival today and fucking. Yeah. And they, everybody's lined up downtown with their bungholes. I don't know. I don't get it.
Cornhole. Well, there was a thing on Facebook. You might have seen it. But these guys laid underneath of the cornhole things. So their fucking junk was right in the hole. And you have to shoot like that, laying on the ground. And then they had one where it went in and, like it just fucking nails you in the junk. I would call that cornhole. Like, I would totally call that cornhole.
I think their league down here is just like to get people down to the bar and have a few drinks.
It's horseshoes. That's all it is. It's just horseshoes, but with easier, I guess.
I'd much rather see them get a nice female league. Let's go all female with the whole league, and have them play volleyball.
Have them play volleyball.
And, they can, half price drinks for men, for a couple hours that night.
I want to see Redfield have a speed dating, like a speed dating night down at the bar or something like that. I think that'd be hilarious. Because everybody go down there and be like, oh, I banged her.
I don't know where to stop for a drink when I come to Redfield anymore. I don't mind going in the bowling alley, and I've gone to Crystal's a couple times, and that's probably got the most of the old Redfield atmosphere to it, But I was a Terry's guy,
Yeah.
I mean, all my life, whenever.
Isn't that place still open?
I don't know. They're up, they're down, they're up, they're down.
I mean, I saw there was a for sale sign, but I didn't know if they ever took it out.
Yeah, I don't think they stayed open. I don't know. But to me, it's and the customer base has all made a decision to go somewhere else because obviously when they open back up, people don't come flocking back. But then again, the people that opened back up didn't do anything but give it a mopping and turn the lights on.
Right. Put some beer and fucking booze in there and shit.
Yeah. But it was a place when somebody died, when somebody graduated, when somebody.
There's a cat coming up on you, just letting you know.
That's where you would go,
What I think is funny is I used to work at Golden Living Center. Well, Redfield Care and Rehab, whatever it is, and shit.
Where you at now? Oh, you're back at the hut.
Yep. Anyways, I would go in early in the morning, so it'd be like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. I'd be driving to work. But then at night, my wife worked at the Center for Independence. You know where that's at? It's in like the little circle drive right next to Golden.
Okay.
Center for Independence. My wife worked there, so I would go pick her up at night, and then I would drive to work in the morning. So when I go pick her up, the bar is packed. Packed. Cars everywhere, dude. And then the next morning, not fucking one. Not one car. I'm like, you can't tell me that every single person that was in that bar came out completely 100% sober enough to drive. Every single vehicle's cleared out. Like, come on, dude. You try that shit in Aberdeen, your ass is in the clink.
Yeah.
That shit's really funny to me. Like, you slick little shits.
I don't think they're slack in this town, though, are they? I mean, I always poop my pants if I'm over here and I've had a beer and I'm driving.
Well,
because, it seems like they've got adequate police action going on over here.
They certainly do in my neighborhood.
For the population,
They certainly do in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
But, yeah, dude, I actually know a couple of the cops, and they're nice, so I can dig it. But I've never had a problem. Never had a problem with police officers. Even when I used to get in trouble back in the day, I was always like, hey, you got me.
Well, yeah, I've never tried to have conflict with the cops.
I'm always just like, you got me. All right. You got me.
But there is such a thing as cops that want to have conflict with you. Just because of the way you look or something,
I've been around my fair share of really, really overzealous cops, that's for sure. But
yeah, I probably won't get into what I think of the newly elected sheriff.
Oh, of Redfield?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll tell you a story about the newly elected sheriff of Redfield. One day... Spink County.
Yeah.
Okay. We're talking about Crumb?
Yeah, that's the man's name.
Okay. One day, and I think I mentioned this on a different podcast at one time, but one day, long story short, I was coming around here, and there's Cop Alley right there. And there was like a big fucking, like, almost like Hooterite van that was stuck in the snow. They were trying to push it out, like the girl's behind the wheel and the dude, one guy is trying to push it out and shit. So that's happening, but then like about 100 yards back, there's a truck just stopped there.
Yeah.
So I go around the truck and I go over and I start helping them. We're pushing our asses off trying. Like fucking 5-10 minutes goes by. Then all of a sudden the truck doors open with those two down there, and they come walking down, and it's him. And I didn't know that at the time, and me just being the smart ass that I was like, about fucking time you guys fucking came.
Yeah, that's good.
And all of a sudden I look up and I'm like, hey, how's it going, officer? Like, but yeah, so I was kind of a dickhole to him at one point in time, but he was my mailman for a long time.
Yeah.
So, hopefully that's a cool thing,
That's good, yeah.
So yeah, I don't care if you talk.
One thing that happened recently that that I thought was an extreme snow job by South Dakota Public TV was that thing they did on the state hospital. I mean, because they skimmed over the Janklow years where he ripped the heart out of that place and threw things apart, and wasted money on this kind of crap just for his ego. He did terrible things to that place. That
was in your day, right?
We had a succession of superintendents or CEOs or whatever the hell you want to call them. That was like a clown's list. I mean, we had a guy that was a superintendent of the place that didn't allow any of the residents from the state hospital to go to the state fair on handicap day because he thought that the public didn't need to be apparently exposed to these mentally defective guys,
handicap
guys
day.
And gals,
it's handicap
on
day.
handicap day.
It's handicap day.
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, from my own experience, the boys that I worked with were terribly disappointed. They'd gone behavioral programs and tried to work up their good points and be eligible for the thing, and then it was they just pulled the plug. There was some ugly stuff went on up there, and vindictive crap. They fired that whole tier of upper echelon people and replaced them with jackasses, basically. And it's too bad. But they don't say a whiff about that. And then like that Wally Nielsen guy, they try to make him out to be some kind of a fucking John the Baptist or something. and he was just a known skirt chaser, boozer guy. He built the first A-frame cabin out at Cottonwood Lake. And he had the beams put together at the carpenter shop at the state, The state employees drew him on state time, He was a crook. He didn't give a damn about those residents and them having this kind of a life or that kind of a life. I mean, the guy was a jackass, So I really thought that whole piece, was just done to give the state a good PR number after they've been...
they've been in the news,
staffing and all that stuff, and that's just their way of trying to fight back. And the fact that they use public TV to do it, which should be a genuine journalism thing, to do a propaganda piece to cover the state's ass is offensive to me. I mean, it's I'm disappointed in them. But,
I was not. It didn't strike me. With a very
it was just
good,
to try to have all this candy cream thing, like the top interest was that, they had some really good interviews with those guys, and the actual former patients. That one fellow was pretty impressive. I recognized several of them, a bunch of them, a bunch of the scenarios I was familiar with it. But the whole point of it was to just give this rosy idea that the place has always had just these benign administrators and everything was peaches and cream and they were all just on this dedicated journey. I mean, and that's just bullshit. I mean, anybody that worked there during those years knows that,
Yeah, they've definitely... I guess I can definitely see why why it was a justifiable thing for them to try to put that out there.
Well, I can understand them making a move to try to improve things, but why the hell couldn't they tell the truth? I mean, we had difficulties during these years. This happened there, this happened, but we responded in a positive way and moved on, rather than just papering the whole thing over and putting a nice little veneer on it, and just acting like it didn't happen. I mean, that's just really piss poor journalism in my book.
I will definitely,
I don't know.
the journalism aspect of it. Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. It's tough for me to talk about,
Yeah, I'm sure.
So, but it's, I think that someday a lot of there's the book that was written. You know about the book?
Yeah, I know about the
Okay,
book.
we have the book. I haven't read it, but my wife has. But I think that in the future there's going to be a lot more stuff like that.
Well, I could get together at a card table with a couple of your maybe they're current employees out there still, twin sisters that are in my age group, and some people like that, and we could just shoot the shit on a Sunday afternoon and
come up with a fucking book.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw some stuff out there.
Oh, I mean,
God, it was so comical that time when, after the Jankel insisted on having prison inmates out there and that stuff, and one of the inmates got pissed off the guard and took a crap in one of the took a crap in the guard's coffee dispenser or something.
Damn, dude. Jesus. That's cold as ice.
Yeah. Yeah.
You gotta be, I'm gonna kind of skirt away from that for a second. That just makes me.
Well, they never said a word about Verl Rogers. That offended me because I thought Verl was a capable steward of that place.
Who was that?
He was a superintendent, back in the.
For a little while.
Actually, I think he had a 10 or 12-year tenure or something.
A
lot of good shit happened when Verl was there. Some sketchy stuff too. He wasn't a saint, but he was an able guy.
Yeah.
They didn't say beans about him. There was a guy named Chin. If a guy sat down I bet if you got, to look at the record books, it's got to be a matter of public record. I'm sure there's been 25 directors of that place at least.
Oh, I bet.
Or more.
The town's too small, man. Nobody wants to live here forever, but then some people do, but I don't know.
The nice thing about the way they were going with things when Verl was there was that the institution was seen as a place that was, you try to place people in the community, and when they can't make it and they need some help getting back on track, they got a place to come back to. Where, you have somebody that has a specific problem, you can deal with this, some kind of a valve, and now the way it's set up is if somebody fucks up out in the community, they just go to prison. That's not a humanitarian solution as far as I'm concerned. The money was well spent out there. In a lot of ways. After they got over the abuse, after they got over the tying people to the column and letting them shit all over the floor and that after they got past all of that stuff, and they did for the most part. If they look back on the records, like Redfield met Title 19 criteria before almost all the other states in the country because we had a limited population. We didn't have 2 or 3 places with 2,000 patients apiece. And we were able to come into compliance. And just when they were just getting it tuned up, then they pulled the plug on the whole thing. Reagan and the Democrats got together on this bullshit thing. It was supposed to be an advocacy for the developmental person's rights. And there were people that needed to get out and should have gotten out and couldn't get out, and they needed to be dealt with. But they, as usual, they throw the baby out with the bathwater. They ended up throwing out people that needed that place.
There are a lot of people out there that need to be out there.
Yeah,
but there are also a lot of people out there that I watch the show Cops, and I see people on there that are less capable than some of the people that live out there, and they're going to jail.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I just feel like there's a certain amount of population that's out there that just pick one. Are we a treatment facility of, you know, this particular type of disabled?
They don't know what they are anymore. They don't know what
there's
they are.
There's a lot of
they've
euphemisms
had bureaucrats
going
making
around,
those
man.
decisions for them for so many years, you know. And instead of somebody that's trained in the field of developmental disability and, you know, society questions and all, if there's somebody that isn't trained in the field making the decisions, you're not going to get good decisions, you know. The whole thing of mixing the juveniles with the developmental people was such a bunch of bullshit. In the same, sharing the same rec places and all of that, and exposing the developmental people to capable criminals. You know, I mean, it just, the whole idea of that was just fucked from the beginning. You know, you can't fix a turd. You know, that created a turd.
Yeah, I just hope that for this town's sake that place never gets shut down.
Well, me too.
Or turned private.
I think for South Dakota's sake that it needs to be made available for the things that don't work out in the community as an alternative to sending them poor bastards to jail. You know? I mean, they're not, you know, they should be able to expect more from the place that had the original custody of them, you know?
Right.
I mean, instead of just being pushed out in the street and make it or break it, you know, if you break it, you go to prison with that child molester fucker, and you might not have anything in common with them, you know? I don't think they deserve to be treated like that. But nobody gives a shit what I think. I'm just an old bastard. I'm 66 years old, buddy.
And you used to, you know, and how long did you work out there?
25 years.
Wow.
Before they told me that I could leave.
Before they told you that you could leave?
They did tell me that I could leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a strange situation. I could go into it, but
you know, there's been.
I'm glad I was liberated. In the long run, when like a few years ago, they had a memorial service for a resident that passed, Marlin. If you remember Marlin, Indian fella. But anyway,
oh yeah,
he was always dear to my heart.
Okay.
And I went to the memorial service, and there were a few other people that were former employees that went too, you know. And the thing that impressed me the most about it was that there was no camaraderie between the staff and the clients, or the staff and each other. It just seemed like such a everybody seemed so miserable. The only people smiling in the room were the people that used to work there. And that was the day that I, you know, I mean, I finally got over losing my job at the Nut Hut, you know.
Yeah. I mean, and dude, that place is.
It's sad. I'm glad I got to be there when it was a decent place.
It's very, very, like, you come here and that the aspect of working with, you know, people with developmental disabilities, plus the aspect of it being a fairly good paying job too. It's really hard to you know, get fired from something like that, or to walk away from something like that and then go off into the real world. You know, like I
went from that to collecting bills for almonds in Aberdeen. I did that for about almost a year, wearing the business casual shit to work, and calling people up on the phone that were broker than me and demanding money from them.
But that was fun.
I hated it, you know, because, you know, and then I was a telemarketer. I worked in the telemarketing hell, sold Verizon phone service, did a bunch of that crappy stuff. And then I went to work in nursing homes. And they don't pay you, they treat you like toilet paper if you work there. But I enjoyed the work. The old coots have a lot to offer.
The death got to me. Like, I saw like 15 people die within a, you know, like,
oh yeah, like
an 8-9 month period, man. Well, hey man, we're coming up on enough time for the show here, but I want to say thank you. Thanks for kind of coming in on the fly and everything, and just wanting to come down and fucking hang out and shoot the shit.
If I can help you out and with your thing you got going, that's fine with me.
I just like it for.
I'm not an old sage. I'm just old.
I'm just old. You have a lot of good in you though, man. And your anti-Trump shit. Like, I love every fucking minute of it.
I wish it was possible to create Facebook accounts as easy as it used to be 5 or 6 years ago. I could be the new guy every other day. Steve Stump Grinder was my favorite.
Steve Stump Grinder. Can you get into that account again?
No, it's dead.
It's deader and shit. Well, hey man, thanks for coming on the Dakota Podcasting Experience. I appreciate it. This is Jon Rhoden, old buddy of my dad's and old buddy of mine now, I guess you could say. Because, I've been hanging out. We've played a little bit around too, so never, except for the reunion, I don't think we ever played.
We've got a gig coming up at the Blues, Brews, and Barbecues in Aberdeen.
What band is that?
The King Bees.
The King Bees playing the blue.
Yeah, we're a 5-piece band now. Boyce Wallin, Kevin Plinus, Brian Creech, myself.
Cosmo, really, dude?
Did I leave anybody out? Can I count?
So the King Bees playing the Blues, Brews,
Martin Lean.
Martin. Okay, yeah.
And I love it that Martin's playing with us again.
Yeah.
Him and Brian, they're pretty much a life support system for the 3 old coots that are the other guys in the band.
Blues, Brews, and Barbecues.
We'll be going on stage from 5 until 7 p.m. So
nice.
The hottest part of the day, we'll be there singing the blues about it.
Ugh, and that's not the hottest part of the day.
Well, it's a nice setup they have out there.
And at least you're not playing it like right at sundown, because that's when the fucking skeeters come out, is right at goddamn sundown. But all right, man. Well, thank you very much, Jon, for being on the Dakota Podcasting Experience. I'm Tony Tubes. You guys know what to do. Just check out all the stuff below in the description. Leave comments if you want. And I'll see you on the next episode.